Turn our attention now, well, to Europe and what the world's richest man is doing there. Elon Musk has sparked a political storm in the UK by launching a series of controversial posts targeting Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the Labour government. His comments have reopened discussions around the issue of child rape gangs, sparking calls for fresh probe. In a series of posts on X, Musk demanded a new national public inquiry, called for Labour government to face an immediate election and wanted King Charles to dismiss the government. And a stunning turn of events took place where Elon Musk also pulled up support for Nigel Farange, calling for the Reform UK leader to step down. Remember, there's so much that has happened in the UK politics, one may say never a dull moment. And the post followed Farange's praise just hours earlier, where he called Musk a friend who made reform look cooler. Amidst all of this, UK PM Keir Starmer has also finally spoken. Let's first listen into what he said. We come back and talk more about where does UK politics go from here and what does this mean for the United Kingdom.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case.
All right, let's get in. Professor Scott Lucas, founder of EA Worldview, Emeritus Professor of International Politics, University of Birmingham, joining me live to talk more about where does UK politics go from here. Professor Scott, never a dull moment, at least that's what it's looking like right now. But how do you see this present situation? The UK, I would call them rape gangs. I'm sorry, I can't bring myself to call them grooming gangs. That's not a new thing that has been going on for a decade. Some inquiries have happened. A lot of people felt that the victims didn't get justice, but that issue has now been brought back into UK politics. How do you see that impacting a government which many thought was stable, but doesn't look so right now?
Well, let me give your viewers, and thank you for the opportunity, the bottom line here, because it applies not only to the UK, it could apply to the US, it could apply to India. Elon Musk, who is not a citizen of Britain, is trying to overthrow the British government. His words, not mine. He just had a poll on whether America should liberate the British people from tyranny. He has done this through misinformation and disinformation. He has done it through what could be libelous tweets, including against a Labour minister who actually has done more to safeguard women and girls than almost anybody else in the past decade. And he has done it by supporting a far-right figure who has been prosecuted for inciting racial and religious hatred, Tommy Robinson. You identify the fundamental issue, and we need to identify that quite clearly. These rape gangs, and you use the right terminology, and they're rape gangs preying on sometimes teenage women, on children. This issue has not been covered up. In 2022, the independent inquiry, the J inquiry, issued 20 recommendations. But the question here is not that there has not been an inquiry, which is what Musk says. It is that those recommendations need to be implemented, whether it's getting a database on children,
indeed,
whether it's to make sure that those who are, etc. We could go through all the measures that have been taken. Musk doesn't care about that, or he doesn't know. What he is trying to do is to use that issue to attack the government and to put his own person in power.
This is not about Tommy Robinson. This is not about Nigel Farage specifically, but this is about Keir Starmer. There have been a lot of claims about his role when he was the prosecutor about a decade ago, something that has been brought into public limelight right now. My question is that at a time when the Prime Minister had a historic mandate like last year, 6 months later, it seems that his ratings have plummeted to record lows. How do you see that causing, or do you see that causing a shift in UK political landscape?
Well, Starmer's ratings have dropped in part because of social media and the fact that the UK, where I lived for almost 40 years, is a divided country. but they have dropped not because Keir Starmer covered up a rape scandal. They've dropped because there are serious economic issues in the United Kingdom, because there are serious social issues in the UK, and because Labour, who are in power, they now have the responsibility of dealing with this. So we need to separate the very real issues that are there in the UK, housing, transport, health, and education, from the white noise of what Musk is doing. To deal with your specific claim, Keir Starmer was the head of the UK's prosecution service. He was the chief Crown prosecutor. He prosecuted a series of rapists when he was there. Now, there were certain cases which were not prosecuted immediately because more evidence needed to be gathered. There were problems because communities were covering up the crimes. That was there. But to say that Starmer covered this up, that's one of the libels that's being put out there. But the problem is, on social media, you're not held accountable for what you say. And Elon Musk, of course, owns an entire social media platform where he can spread these lies without responsibility.
All right, Professor Scott, thanks much for speaking to me on NDTV. Let's see where this goes from here. My sense is it isn't ending anytime soon. Really appreciate you taking out the time.